Hello everyone, I'm back here with another Unreal Engine tutorial. This also applies to Unreal Engine 4. I am using the version 5. So today we are going to be looking at branches. They are if statements, so some code will only execute if it's true or false. It's up to you. So if we go to our content drawer again by clicking the button in the bottom left or pressing Ctrl and space as a shortcut, we can go back into the folder that we made on the previous episode called Overlaps and open our overlap actor. Now your code should look something like this if you haven't messed around with it. We are going to make a new function. So what we are going to do is firstly I want you to go to the event graph, right click and bring back that function called begin play, which we removed on episode 1. Now, begin play always executes when either the start of the game is started or when your actor has been spawned into the level. So this will only ever execute on either of those conditions. Now, once we've created the begin play once again, we want to make a new function down here, and all you need to do is search for custom event. You'll see once you type custom, it will come straight up with it. You just want to name this node whatever you want. I'm just going to call mine timer. We now have our node called timer. It's always important to remember that this will not work unless you add it to an existing script or off of begin play. So if we drag off of begin play and search timer, it will now, when the game begins, it will call this function. Okay, so we are going to have a timer for when we're going to allow this to say hello. So what we are first going to want to do is make a new variable. You do that by pressing the plus icon in the bottom left on variables. We're going to name this variable timer. We'll make this timer v for variable. Yeah? Now, once you've made this, it will give you a list of options on the right hand side. And we're going to want to go to the one called variable type. If you click on the boolean here, the drop down, it will then give you a list of variables. I'm going to make an integer 64. Once you've clicked on that, press compile in the top left and save. It will then ask you under default value for the default value of your integer. Integers are always numbers. So if you click in the box and set the amount of time you want until it will allow you to overlap, enter maybe 20 seconds. Now we're going to get onto the branch function. If you can either add a branch by typing branch after right clicking and doing it like that, or if we delete that temporarily, you can hold the B key on your keyboard and left click. Once you've done that, just join them both together. We are also going to add another branch to this function. If you hold the B key again and left click, it will add another branch for you. You then want to connect these two together, and off of the true, we want to connect this one. Going back down to our custom function called timer, we are now going to grab our timer v variable click and drag it straight onto the graph and click get. Now, we are then going to click on the timer v variable, drag off of it, and do an equals to. Now, equals to means equal to a value. It could be 0, it could be 10, whatever you want. Now, if you press equals twice on your keyboard after dragging off of this one, it will then give you the equals to node, which you then need to connect the red to the red on the branch. So what this is saying is once this variable, which we set to 20, is equal to 0, it will be true. And if it's not, then it will go down to false. Now this is where we will do our subtraction maths. So again, click on your timer v variable, drag it out onto the event graph, do the get timer v. You then want to drag off of this one again and press the minus on your keyboard. It will then bring up the subtract, or if you're in Unreal Engine 4, it will just bring up a takeaway. Okay, so you will now have these two nodes linked together. Reposition them so you can understand them a bit easier. You then need to click on this 0 because we don't want to take away nothing from our timer. If you click on the 0 and then type 1, it will then be taking away 1 from this variable. But we need to tell it what variable it wants to be set to. So if you drag off of this, drop it back on here, the variable again, and click set, we now have an execution pin once again, which we can link to false. So if you drag that onto there, so it's now linked to false, you then attach this one, the green node on the other side, to the timer v variable. It will now, every time it's not equal to 0, it will go down and take away 1. So you can understand that it goes timer, branch, not equal to 0, take away 1. After this one, we also need to add something called a delay, because if we don't, Unreal Engine will think that the script is going on forever, and it can cause errors as well if you don't do this. You can leave that at 0.2. Actually, you want to probably change that to 1 second. So obviously every 1 second the timer counts down. It will take away 1, and then just type the timer function afterwards. Just type right click or drag and type timer. As you can see, we've now got our timer. Now we need to say what it's going to do after it's true and it's equal to 0. So we need another variable. If you press the plus on the variables once again, and then just give it a name of timer complete. You then want to change the variable type once again in the top right, which can be accessed by clicking on the variable down in the bottom left, and click on Boolean. Once you click that, press compile so the variable is set up. As you can see, by default, it is either a check or a false, true or false. It's the same thing. Check, uncheck is true or false. So our timer complete variable, if you click on it, hold and drop it, click the get timer complete, and link them with that branch which we added to our event actor begin overlap. Now with this function here, Once it's true, we want to tell it that it's true. Yeah? So you just want to drag your variable out again. Let me delete that. And click on Set Timer Complete. Connect these two variables together and check it. So now, once our timer is complete, it will then look at this variable, which we have set to true, and then it will print the hello. Press compile and save all. Never forget to save your project. So looking over this, we're going begin play, timer. The timer goes down here, it's not equal to 0. It will then take away 1 and loop around every second until it's true, and it is 0. That will then end the function. So let's see this in practice. Yeah? So if we minimize our blueprint, as you can see, we still got the box here. We press play. You can then run over to your square, and you'll notice that nothing's happening because our timer is still counting down from 20. Once our timer has reached 0, our event begin overlap will trigger. At the moment it's false. As you can see, it's now printing hello because our timer has reached 0. Still from before, you can see that we are the only actor that can trigger this overlap in the box. That is all I'm covering today, as it was today we have learnt that custom functions can do different things. We've made ourselves a timer with an integer, and we have covered a very small section of branches and how they work. Thank you for watching.